Hey, good morning to you. I'm meteorologist Alexandra Cranford getting you a quick update just as of 10:05 a.m. on Tuesday morning, trying to update you on what's happening with Nicholas as it's spreading rain across southeast Texas and especially now into Louisiana. Nicholas, of course, is inland, and as of the 10 a.m. advisory, let's just update you on that, and then we'll get into the rain that we're seeing here in the New Orleans area in a second. 10 miles southeast of Houston for the center of the storm now. So this is a Tuesday morning where Houston has a tropical storm sitting right over it. But look at what's happening with the rain. There is some shear kind of pushing all the rain out to the east of the storm. So we're actually not seeing a whole lot developing either on the southern side or over on the western side right now. As we have expected, it's all over to the east, as we knew we were going to be in Louisiana on the wetter side of the storm, and in southeast Texas. Of course, the heavier rain was last night and now beginning to ease, at least for some spots, away from Tropical Storm Nicholas's center. So as of the 10 a.m. advisory, the only change really to the path, it's about the same, but they've just kind of slowed it down a little bit. We know that as it moves inland, it's just going to, first of all, weaken. That's the other thing. It is a good bit weaker now, winds of 45 miles per hour, a few gusts up to 60 miles per hour. But it is forecast to weaken, of course, friction with land, also some dry air getting into the storm. So these things are going to make it not as strong and probably not even a tropical storm by later today and into tomorrow. We'll be looking at likely a depression, still bringing rain though, and the effects really about the same for southeast Louisiana. So flash flood watch for all of Louisiana's coastal spots into Mississippi too. This goes for our area until Thursday morning for a potential 4 to 8 inches of rain. And as we've been saying, this is not going to cause widespread flooding effects everywhere. We won't be seeing issues all over the place. However, we'll have to watch for a few of those bands that might set up and dump a lot of that rain rather quickly. So that could be the case later today and into tomorrow too. Although it's looking like by late tomorrow and into Thursday, things should already be easing a bit for southeast Louisiana. So here's our radar right now, getting into what's happening in New Orleans. We're in the French Quarter here at our studios. We're hearing the rain on the roof. Our rain has certainly increased in intensity since just even an hour or so ago. And you can see that that is showing up with many pockets of either moderate or heavy rain. And if you are in New Orleans at this point, if you're around the New Orleans East area towards Chalmette, West Bank, those of you over in Metairie and Kenner, there are some areas of heavy rain, but this little pocket, I think, is going to move off to the north fairly quickly. So after a little while, getting toward lunchtime, we will see our rain kind of going back to that very much lighter sort of pattern that we had a little bit earlier in the morning for New Orleans. Farther south, there is some heavy rain around Belle Chase to Galliano, and unfortunately, as we've been saying, some of these areas still very much recovering and dealing with the impacts from Ida, of course, are getting the rain now. And we knew this going into today. That would be a threat for places that have debris that might clog drainage spots and also damage to houses and buildings and now getting downpours. So hopefully everyone got everything secured yesterday or the day before. You can see around Homa, Thibodaux, Morgan City, Galliano, Cocodrie, some downpours there. Now, if you're north of the lake, those of you around Hammond and Amite, St. Tammany Parish over toward Mississippi, we're not seeing quite as much heavy rain just yet. However, that little area that we've been tracking over New Orleans might bring a little increase in intensity to your area. And actually, you're getting a break after some heavier rain earlier, of course, as well. So as we move through our model here, this is our high resolution. Now we're going to go forward in time just to give you an idea of what to expect. Look at this heavy rain through noon over especially southwest Louisiana and central Louisiana, Lake Charles to Lafayette areas. Interestingly, our models are kind of showing what we're seeing actually playing out over southeast Texas. The Houston area not getting quite as much rain now as before, of course, now that Nicholas has moved inland and continues kind of gently moving out in the next day or so off to the east. Here we are in New Orleans at noon looking at some showers and some downpours. It will not just be continuous heavy rain the whole day and night and tomorrow, but we will see these little waves of rain that we tend to see with tropical depressions and tropical systems. This is 4 p.m. and notice this is something we'll have to watch for if we were to see a heavy rain band just kind of set up and bring maybe a couple of inches rather quickly. That would cause some flooding issues. You can see some heavy rain forecast by this evening over Lafayette. We'll move on toward tonight. And again, this model isn't perfect with timing, but you can see the idea is that we may have some of those heavier rain bands here and there. That's why we have the flash flood watch, which is, of course, means it's not actually flooding in all locations, but the ingredients are there with the deep tropical moisture and the setup with that depression getting closer to us in the next day or so. Now, this is tomorrow morning. Wednesday, you can see that some of the heaviest rain might be shifting off to the east. And look what our high-resolution model is doing for tomorrow. It kind of brings less rain by the second part of the day. This is afternoon and then on into evening. So we will see if this does pan out. But it does look like both today and tomorrow we'll have to watch for the flooding threat. And then by Thursday morning, this model wants to put all of the rain off to the east of us. And we may see Thursday a much calmer day than what we'll see today and tomorrow in terms of rainfall. So by Thursday morning, our flash flood watch, as it goes right now, will be ending for, again, that potential 4 to 8 inches. Now, looking at this is our 3-day rain forecast. So going forward in time, how much rain could we see? And this is going to count for Nicholas, the rain from Nicholas. So that would include today, tomorrow, and then into Thursday even. And notice that there is a big swath in these oranges, including the New Orleans area, and that indicates up to that 4 or 5 inch range. Now, I've been showing some of the models because I think some spots may get pretty manageable amounts of rain, and that's kind of what we've been anticipating. This is the GFS. This is not set in stone. I just want to show you this is one model run showing up to maybe 3 or 4 inches on the higher side. The European model places a swath of 4 to 5 inches a little bit farther to the north and northwest of the New Orleans area itself. Those around Bogalusa to Baton Rouge, maybe about 4 inches. Just take this with a grain of salt. I just wanted to kind of show you a couple of the numbers because a couple of inches of rain, 3, 4 inches even, if it's spread out over these next few days, we could handle, but it will be those heavy rain bands that could cause some isolated flooding issues. Again, not widespread everywhere, but a few spots could see that flooding, and that's why we're going to be watching closely today and tomorrow. So the flash flood outlook for today, is there a moderate risk of that? And look at southwest Louisiana, actually a high flash flood outlook, a high chance of seeing or a high risk of seeing some flooding rains today. We'll fast forward now to tomorrow, and you can see we're still looking at that flash flooding potential. And then by even Thursday, after we've gotten rain today and tomorrow, even if we just have a few scattered showers on Thursday, we'll have to watch in case of flooding concerns there too. So looking quickly at our 7-day forecast, you can see today we'll be looking at our highs at least only in the 80s. High chance for those tropical downpours. Tomorrow too, highs only in the 80s. So when it's that lighter rain, the periods of kind of light sprinkles, it actually will not feel bad in New Orleans. I know some people at this point of the year are complaining because we're into September and we have highs way into the 90s perhaps, but that just won't be the case, of course, with a tropical depression nearing us. We're going to have the rain, but also not much heat. Thursday, still a decent chance, but we will see likely most of the rain, the bulk of the flooding threat shifting off to the east of our area. Friday and into the weekend, we're still a bit unsettled. So that's why we continue with about a 40 or 50% chance, more for those kind of typical afternoon kind of scattered downpours, and highs will be back into the upper 80s by then. So if you're in the New Orleans area, we are going to be anticipating the rain, and it's picking up. Again, we can hear it here in New Orleans in the French Quarter. We're going to anticipate it today and tomorrow before we start to dry out a bit on Thursday. Please just be aware if you have our app, that would be a great thing. Maybe you're watching us on the app, but just to kind of have a way to get any warnings, if there are flash flood warnings issued for your area, if you have a heavy downpour and kind of need to see what's happening. We have, of course, all our radars and things like that. So just keep up with us, I would say, for the next couple of days. Just keep up with our radar. And we'll have, of course, our next forecast coming up at noon on WWL Channel 4 if you want to catch us then and see what else is going on around the area.